Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Justice League Unlimited issue 17, written by Mark Waid, with art by Clayton Henry, colors by Tamara Bonvillain, and letters by Ariana Maher. The Justice League reforms in the wake of DCKO with some new surprising members, as in Bialia, a group of terrorists hold a pair of diplomats hostage, demanding they give up their state secrets or they'll kill their families. Suddenly the terrorists are attacked by a trio of very unlikely heroes, Lex Luthor, Giganta, and Starro, who claim to be part of the Justice League now. Now these villains being on the Justice League is not anything new, especially Lex or Starro or Jaro or whatever he's going by now. I don't know whether it's still Jaro or whether it's now a different Starro. It's kind of all over the place with Starro. It's definitely the hook the books needs post DCKO, especially with Lex, who basically won the tournament before Superman's return. So his inclusion is going to be interesting, since I feel he's going to be harboring some deep resentment for losing the tournament, and maybe this is his get back at Superman. You know, Superman's not around to say that he can't be on the Justice League, and you know, him coming in, and we've seen Lex before, he'll come in and he'll like act as like the big savior and try and take over the Justice League and be the main member, and we're going to see all that again here. And because there's no Superman there, he's not really going to have anyone to stop him from doing that. 3 days prior, Blue Beetle and Red Tornado watch as the world reverts back from New Apocalypse to Earth, just as it was before the tournament begun. On top of that, the Omega Rift in the Watchtower has sprung to life and is spewing out some new type of energy that no one on the Watchtower knows about. The heroes soon find out what the energy is, as it's a portal, as all of the heroes who participated in the tournament are blasted out of it. Beetle and Terrific are happy to see their friends are back, but the heroes all are clearly changed, having seen some type of strange vision in the wake of Superman's win. I'm hoping this is the one thing from KO that continues, the participants all having to reckon with, you know, that perfect world that the tournament showed them at the beginning, and then obviously all of these new visions they get to see, which I guess is like their new status quo going into their books and wherever else they go off to. I kind of liked that idea where they all got a chance to have that taste of godhood and see the perfect world they could have created, and it was just kind of snatched away from them. And I have to imagine some are kind of disappointed at that, some are kind of happy that that didn't happen. I'm intrigued to see that get explored here. Wonder Woman orders every League member to be assembled, and it's up to Batman, Captain Atom, and Wonder Woman to reveal what happened in the tournament, and how after beating back Darkseid, Superman gave up his godhood and reverted their world back to normal, but not before revealing that this entire tournament was just a prequel to an even bigger fight ahead. It's surprising that they are almost immediately going right into the groundwork for the crisis on Absolute Earths that was hinted at the end of DCKO issue 5. I figured we get, you know, a bit of a reprieve like we usually do with events, where, you know, you'll get that tease at the end of the actual event, and then it's, you know, 6 months of just like really nothing, and then they start, you know, feeding in the little hints about what's to come. I guess it means the writers are eager for it, and it feels like they all want to write about that event or like build up to it. Like All In seems to have reinvigorated a lot of these writers creatively with a lot of these books. So I guess, you know, they're eager to do it. You know, they want to do it. They have the energy to do it. So I mean, go for it. Let them do it. Batman and Wonder Woman know that Superman is not dead, but if he can't be found, they need to fight on in his memory, and since Superman rejected the Omega's power, it also sent them a message: hope is not a competition, and that in order to stop the next crisis, they will all need to work together. The heroes also reveal the new visions they were all shown by the Alpha Energy, with them believing that it's the universe telling them to accomplish certain tasks that will help improve their odds in the next phase of the crisis. The Justice League mobilize and get ready to assist the 8 billion people on Earth in resettling the planet, but Red Tornado alerts them to a prison transfer gone wrong at Iron Heights. As thanks to the heroes and villains being spat back out where they begun, some villains actually wound up outside of prison, and others, the ones the heroes managed to seal in the Phantom Zone, were just kind of dumped back on Earth and are now just wreaking havoc through the cities. So this book is doing a lot of post-KO heavy lifting. It's setting up quite a fair bit, and there is a lot of moving parts, especially with the visions aspect of it, which is clearly meant to be many of these characters are going to go off into their solo series and deal with that. Aquaman's already dealing with it over in Emperor Aquaman. There's Justice League stuff here, Green Lantern stuff, but then there's characters who don't have books right now, like Hawkman and Shazam, who get mentioned here with their visions. And I guess they're going to be the B plot to the villains becoming the League members' A plot. I'm sure we're going to, check in with some heroes who don't have their own books in this book. The problem with that being is that there was quite a number of people who got that vision. So this could also bog down the book in crisis setup, and there not be any actual, story outside of the crisis setup. So this book just essentially becomes essential reading for the next big crisis in a couple of years, which would honestly suck because I've really been enjoying Mark Waid just kind of giving us like Justice League adventures here and there. And then obviously he built up to DCKO, but before that we got some really interesting stuff with, the villains pretending to be Inferno, and even the stuff he did in KO with Mr. Terrific and all of that heading into hell and dealing with Neron and all of that sort of stuff. That was great stuff, and it felt like Justice League stuff. It didn't feel like homework. With the villains free, a group of League members is sent to deal with Tarpit and Gerda in Keystone City, with Stargirl dealing with Tarpit and Kid Flash taking down Gerda. Airwave decides to look out for the people nearby, who reveal the villains aren't actually doing anything evil. In fact, they are actually saving the people as the footbridge they were on collapsed under all of their weight, and the villains braced it with their powers. Both Tarpit and Gerda are upset about being locked up in the Phantom Zone without even being given the option to help fight, since despite being villains, they still have people to fight for and loved ones they care about, and if the world really was ending, they deserved to help prevent it. This was something I feel was kind of glossed over in DCKO itself, because of course that event had a lot of moving parts too. And this is, many of the villains feeling betrayed, the heroes immediately locked up them all. And I'm glad we are getting fallout from that action here. We saw a little bit of it in the first couple of issues of KO when Lex got free, and, having been in the tournament alongside Superman, he was doing all in his power to try and prevent Superman from becoming the King Omega, just for the sheer fact that he locked him up and betrayed his trust a little bit. So I'm glad we're continuing that here with all of the other villains and getting to see their side of the story. Seeing the villains want to actually help causes friction between Batman and Wonder Woman, with Wonder Woman wanting to float the idea of the villains joining the League and Batman not even wanting to entertain the idea. Since the Trinity isn't together, Superman's missing of course, they need a third member, so Batman calls Shazam over to join them as they enter the Phantom Zone, filling the hero in on how, with Darkseid gearing up for another attack in some form in the future, the stakes will be even higher than last time. Shazam being part of the Trinity now and acting as, the Superman analog is kind of a neat idea. Like I said, I'm sure his story is going to be told in this book because there is no Shazam book, and I think this is a smart way to do it, is kind of elevating him up to that, top League member status, and he's going to be sticking around. It gives him the excuse to stick around, that he's technically now part of the Trinity since he's hanging out with Wonder Woman and Batman. And it's something we've seen before, Superman's doubled as Shazam and Shazam has doubled as Superman before, so it's not something out of the realm of possibility. The Trinity head into the Phantom Zone, where dozens of villains are still residing. And this is where Waid really kind of flexes his continuity muscles as he brings back the story he did way back when he begun his run on the most recent Action Comics iteration, which was all about the Phantom Zone and Superman dealing with the Phantom Zone and what it can do for its inmates, with the story ending with Mon-El becoming the warden of the Phantom Zone and trying to rehabilitate all of the convicts inside of it, something which actually got Superman exiled from Kandor and is actually a story still going on over in the Supergirl ongoing. The heroes meet with Mon-El, who is running the rehabilitation program to some degree of success. And Wonder Woman tells Shazam about Mon-El and his work as the Wazone's warden, which Batman wants to use, since he tells Shazam and Wonder Woman that they both have the wisdom of the gods, and his judgment is too biased against the villains, so he wants them to make a decision on if the villains can be trusted and used in the coming war with Darkseid. Wonder Woman and Shazam both agree to let the villains join, as Lex, Lobo, Giganta, Harley Quinn, and King Shark are offered full membership into the Justice League proper. Justice League issue 17 kept the ball rolling post DCKO and began a new mystery for the heroes to unravel. I do have worries it might be balancing too much with the setup of the, phase 2 of DC All In, the villains coming in and helping the League, plus all of the hanging plot threads left over from before DCKO, stuff like Airwave still wandering around, and maybe some stuff with Mr. Terrific and what he experienced in Hell. I'm sure that's going to come back at some point. So there's quite a fair bit of things happening in this book, but I do trust Mark Waid. Mark Waid knows how to do this sort of stuff, so I'm intrigued to see how he weaves it all together, sends things off to other books, and just kind of packages it really nicely. But so far it's working, but there are concerns there that it might be getting a bit too overstuffed, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm going to give this issue a 7 out of 10.